In this episode, we visit a wetland that we've never been to before, and I got really confused about which way water flows. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ideanthro. Now today, we're investigating a topic that I find really interesting. And this is this thing where if you're involved in any way in water sensitive urban design or stormwater management, at some point you're going to end up out on a site that you haven't been to before, and you're going to need to find out something about it. Like you might not have plans for it, you might have just stumbled across it, and you need to investigate what it's all about. So recently we did a video kind of along these lines with the bioretention system in Margaret River. But at that point, I'd already checked out the system, and then I was coming back and kind of retrospectively describing the process that I'd been through in investigating it. Well, today we've got this wetland over here, and we're going to try and do it in real time. So Ben and I were actually just driving past to go and film at another site, and we were both like, hey, wow, lots of wetland plants. That's really interesting. Let's stop and have a look. And we jumped out and we saw this, and we were like, okay, got an idea for this video, so let's do it. So we jumped out. We actually parked over the other side there, but we've wandered across to get away from the cars a little bit. And we wandered in, and so let's walk through. So one of the first things that struck us here was obviously the wetland vegetation. So you'll see it all out to the side there. It's got this kind of stereotypical pointy form that you see, that strikes us as, okay, native Australian wetland plants, they're going to be growing in some standing water. And they had this kind of slightly, it's not manicured look, that's not the word I want, but slightly formalized. Like it didn't look, when a wetland is planted, I feel that there's something about the way we group the plants and the way that they then take off, that they often look, they look just a little bit different to when it's a completely natural wetland. It's hard to put my finger on what that is. So driving past, for me, I saw that and was like, oh, this thing's been created and I want to investigate it. So we came along, we see these plants as we wandered in before, we see this boardwalk. There's evidently a really high amenity value that people are going for here. And I noticed, I was trying to figure out, maybe how old this is. Taking a look around at the age of some of the plants off the side here, how high certain of these, these more shrubby species have got to give us an indication that we're talking, maybe a couple of years old with maturity of plants here, but not super old. Also, I'm interested in what we can pick up from even less obvious stuff. So one thing that I noticed here is this concrete beneath us is the existing path. It's quite brown, but this path here, so this is where we entered, my car's just up there, where we entered here, bright white concrete. So this screamed out to me really quite a new system. So this is the first view of the system that Ben and I got. We're like, okay, pretty cool. It's, lots of wetland plants in there. It's looking pretty good. So we started to wander down this path, but then we stopped and we're like, no, let's get the camera and let's take a look. So things that strike me here is I reckon that there is still a maintenance program happening on this site, because if we look at kind of the gaps and the spacing between stuff, if this wasn't being maintained, all this dry land, all this terrestrial vegetation, there'd be heaps of weeds popping up in the middle of that. But there aren't. It's got this fairly stereotypical pattern of plant, then bare earth, plant, then bare earth. And for me, that tends to happen when you've got weed spraying going on in between stuff. And as we walk past the guy here, how you doing, mate? So I'm thinking there's still a maintenance program going on here. Next up, I suppose for me, every time I visit a site that I haven't been to before, it's just about wandering around and taking a look. And we're doing it right now. So Ben and I have not wandered this far down here yet. We don't really know what we're going to find. Something else that is interesting me here is there's a lot of this Imperator cylindrica growing around. And this isn't the first time. So we're in Logan City Council here. So the council area that's immediately to the south of Brisbane in southeast Queensland. And this is not the first time that I've seen Imperator cylindrica do really well around either a wetland or a bioretention system in Logan. So I'm picking up something there. There's a bit of a pattern going on here with that stuff. You can see a big swathe of it out here. And it runs via rhizomes underneath the ground, which allows it to kind of just take off like this and to some extent start to swamp some of the other species. So wandering around, the next thing I'm starting to pick up is looking out into the wetland itself. There are some gaps in between the plants here. Might be hard to pick that up on the video there. Can you see the spoonbill, actually? Got to admit, Ben pointed this out to me before. It's pretty cool. We'll see whether we can pick that up. Sweet. Ben is nodding to me that says, yes, we can see the spoonbill. The one thing that I'm thinking here, right from the moment I first saw this, was, is this, so there's lots of wetland plants here, but is this a stormwater treatment wetland, or is this like a natural areas rehabilitation of an existing creek, an existing wetland? Because that, in my mind, then affects how one might treat it from a maintenance point of view, from a management point of view. So for me, when it comes to identifying wetlands, like stormwater treatment wetlands, it's often about the outlet structure. And I'm just not seeing one here. I'm seeing, we got the creek down there. We've wandered around. I haven't seen a formalized outlet structure like a concrete pit and a riser and a sluice valve and all that very formalized infrastructure that we normally see. So I'm at this stage going, okay, this is like a rehab job for a wetland that was naturally in this low point in the catchment. There's the creek running through over there. I wonder if we've missed any way for, how does the water get out? Is this the channel where the water gets out down to the creek in the high flows? It must be. It just doesn't look like it grades that way. Let's go for a wander. So I'm trying to convince myself that I do know how the water gets out of this wetland. Logically, where this channel is going, you would think that this is the outlet of it, but it might be my eyes playing a trick on me, but I just don't think it's graded that way. So in the spirit of this video, it's let's go have a look. The whole video is, hey, let's see what this is about. Wonder what we can find. So wandering over here, we've got another, well, a random bridge with no path to it. That's interesting, kind of cool. So channel, bridge, more channel, oh, a weir and a pit of some sort. What have we got? So what's this? Little culvert. Okay, so that's open on that side. That's open on that side. Okay, so by the grade of this, I'm feeling that this is water comes from up there, flows down this channel. A weir has been constructed here to divert water in, because the wetland is back, if you pan round when you get a sec, Ben. The wetland's back that way. So I think the weir is diverting water through underneath here and down that way. I could be wrong, but that's just what the grades look like they're flowing to me. And maybe I had the catchment wrong. Maybe it then flows out that end. Okay, interesting. This is part of the investigative process, right? I'm not afraid to admit that I'm a little bit confused right now about what's going on here, but we just keep looking around trying to figure out what's up. So let's wander on. And honestly, something that I've learned over the years, the amount of times that I've come out to a system and tried to, like in 30 seconds, go, oh yeah, okay, I get what's up. That's fine. That's cool. I understand what's going on. And how often when I do that, I get it wrong. I came into this site with some preconceptions about how the water flowed and where it went. And this past, 2 minutes or so appears to be proving me wrong about that. Yeah, that's definitely graded down back into the wetland here. So what do you think, Ben? Does it actually flow out the other end? Have I completely misjudged this and the water's flowing this way?
You may have missed that, yeah.
It is. Right. There we go. You make mistakes, right? But so long, and maybe this is going to be the point of this video, so long as you go for a thorough look around, you will figure it out, because you'll see stuff that doesn't fit into the paradigm, and you'll be like, oh, okay, that doesn't fit. Let's readjust my preconception about the site. This is funny. There's some people watching us film and wondering what the heck we're up to. It's not just the ones on the boardwalk either. Okay. So we've decided it's actually flowing out in this direction. We're getting a bit more of a handle on it. What else can we spot around here? What I do want to go have a look at. So we've almost done a full lap of the wetland from where we started. In just a second, we'll see the boardwalk come into shot over here, and we'll be back where we started, and we've kind of done a lap. So let's do two things. If we've decided that the downstream end of this is these culverts over here, let's go have a look at them and see what this looks like. and then we'll go have a look in the car park that's currently behind the camera. We'll show you that in a sec. So, what is going on over here? There's a weir of some sort. Not so much a weir as, an outlet structure. There we go. What do we got this time? Watch your step on the rocks there. So, that's intriguing. Come and grab a look at this when you... Okay, that's a different sort of outlet structure to what I was expecting. The grades are very flat around here. It's shallower. It could flow out that way. It definitely looks lower over there. I'm going to say my current feeling that this is the outlet structure. What's your thoughts, Ben? Do you reckon? No? Ben has no idea. Is that what you're mouthing to me? Okay, fair enough. That's all good. So this is part of the process, but if we hadn't gone through this process of fully investigating, I certainly would have made a big mistake early on here. So, what lessons have we learnt from this? Look around fully. Imperator cylindrica, I'm picking up a pattern in various Logan sites that I go to, seems to really like this little local area, and the more sites you go and look at, the more you'll pick up your local species that do really well. There was that pattern about spraying, that was interesting. And let's go look at one more thing, because this site's clearly associated with this kind of sporting and parkland complex over here. And I'm curious to see what there might be in the car park with respect to stormwater treatment and bioretention. So let's go have a look. So wandering over here, the first thing that struck us when we noticed the car park was we were wandering up close, and we haven't been into the car park yet, even before we started filming, was these little gardens with the kind of curb cutouts, watch the rail. And we were like, oh, I wonder if there's any bioretention or stormwater treatment in here in any respect. So I'm looking here, there are definitely cutouts where stormwater could get into the garden, but there's no obvious outlet pit, which suggests to me not bioretention, it's not sunk down in the ground. There's heaps of mulch in it. They're nice little gardens between the car parks, but I'm not seeing them as formalised stormwater treatment. Although obviously they'll do a job, right? If any stormwater runs into them, so the car park's actually grading to that other side, that garden there, some stormwater could be running into it. You can see a little bit of a channel, plant in the middle, concrete edge off to one side. There's a bit of a channel between the plant and the concrete edge. If you want me to wander into. So there is plant there, concrete there. There's a slight depression through here where stormwater could be getting in. So there is going to be some element of stormwater management. Watch out for the cars. There could be some element of stormwater management going on, but it doesn't seem super formalised. Same sort of deal with that one. Let's just walk through to the end of the car park and see if there's anything else that we find. What's this coming up? Got a couple more options. What's this? Okay, this is meant to be a bioretention system. Take a second, how did I pick that? So I was wandering up here wondering if this was going to be bioretention, and it is. So I'll tell you why. The first thing is it's slightly lower than the landscape around it. So that's saying stormwater can get in there. It's got the flush curbs on it so that water can theoretically get from the road into the system. Then two things I noticed proved it to me. So those two things that I mentioned already suggested that it was possible. And then two things proved it. One, you can see these PVC pipes with the concrete supports around them. There's several of them along here. Those are the flush out points for the under drains below the bioretention system. That's a surefire sign that it's bioretention. And then up this end, I spotted this outlet pit. And if you've looked at my video about spotting bioretention systems, you'll know that I always find the outlet pit. I have a look down the pit, and if there's a PVC pipe, about 500 mils to a metre below the surface, you know it's bioretention, and that's got it. So, interesting. Okay, let's wrap this video up. So, the last time I did a video like this, it was at a bioretention system at Margaret River. and I investigated the system, and then I came back around and subsequently made a video trying to explain what I'd done. Today, I wanted to actually take you through the process of investigating it, try and talk it through to try and demonstrate the process. And so that's been a learning process for me as well, because I kind of put myself under a bit of pressure to see what I could find. And I think the lesson that I've taken away from it, and it's just reminded me of this, is you go to a site and there's going to be complexities with it, and so you just have to take the time to have a good look. I'm not convinced that I 100% understand how that wetland works, but I do know a lot more about how it works than I would have if I'd only had a cursory glance for a few seconds. And so we'll probably have a bit more of a look as we wander back over, see what we can figure out. But yeah, I think the take home is, take the time, just look around with open eyes and curiosity, start to come to some conclusions, but also look for stuff that doesn't fit with those conclusions. If you find stuff that doesn't fit, then take that info on board, readjust your assumptions about the site, and eventually you'll get to a point where you know it pretty well. Sweet. Thanks for tuning in. Ben, thank you for filming. Thank you for allowing me to talk to you partway through the episode and try and get your opinion out of you. If you like what we're doing here at Ideanthro, if you've got questions, if there's something you want to know about in water-sensitive urban design, then by all means, let us know. You can find us online at ideanthro.com. You can find us at Facebook at facebook.com/ideanthro. Hit us up with a question. We'd love to make a video. And sweet, cool. Until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.